Welcome to Lawn Talk. All right, welcome everybody to another episode of Lawn Talk, where we talk all things lawns and then some. So, a bit of housekeeping before we get started. Thank you guys for joining us. If you are over on any of our streaming platforms that we're on, I want to make sure you know that we do have a video version that we upload with each episode to our YouTube channel, Lawn Talk. Go check it out if you want to. And while you're over there, go check out my main channel, The Lawn Whisperer, where I upload weekly videos on DIY lawn care tips, tricks, techniques, product reviews, all that good stuff. If you like what you see, please be sure and subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. If you have any questions or any topic ideas that you would like to hear on the podcast, feel free to email them to lawntalkpod@gmail.com. Also, you can find me on Instagram at lawn.whisperer. All that being said, let's go ahead and start the show. All right, so today we have got Brian from Brian's Lawn Maintenance. Brian, thank you for coming on and hanging out with us. And for the two people who do not know who you are, would you mind giving a quick background intro to who you are?
Well, apparently I have a rep out there, which is even more interesting, right? So no, I run Brian's Lawn Maintenance on YouTube. I have a channel all about helping folks grow a more successful lawn and landscape company. And I actually own a real traditional business. I know sometimes that gets lost in the shuffle, but we run a contractor business up here in Metro Detroit, Michigan. This will be our 13th or 14th season, believe it or not, which is crazy because I'm actually only 22. If you get to talk to me, no, I'm just kidding. So I look like I'm 12 years old, but no, we've been in business for more than a decade, and I'm just having fun with my lawn and landscape company, man. It's been a really good run.
That's awesome. So I've got some very serious questions I want to start out with, and these might be tough. I'm not sure how you'll be able to handle them, but you're going on a very hot date, right, with your wife? Okay, you're getting dressed up, you're fancy, you sit down. What number meal from Chick-fil-A did you order?
Dude, whatever's the 12-piece nugget. I think it's a number 8.
Nugget?
I don't know. We don't have Chick-fil-A by us yet, dude. It's opening in like 3 months. Like pray to Jesus that by the time this recording comes out, it might be open, right? But it took them forever to lay the foundation. But we know that like they can frame the rest of it in like 60 days, right? So whatever is a 12-piece nugget meal with like 4 Chick-fil-A sauces.
Okay. So China can build a hospital in 7 days or whatever, but they can't build a Chick-fil-A in that amount of time.
Yeah, amen to that, dude. I saw that. That's insane. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing over here? So.
All right. So if you had to pick one TV show to watch for the rest of your life, what is it?
One TV show for the rest of my life, it would be Star Trek Enterprise, dude. Like the one from like 5 or 10 years ago. I'm a big Star Trek nerd. I have no idea why. That's the last TV show I really remember watching too. With I forget the guy actor, but I wouldn't care if it was Star Trek Voyager, man. The older lady back in the day, she was fire.
Okay, I would have not pegged you for a Star Trek guy, but that's all right. I like it.
There you go.
All right. So what got you into lawn care?
It's funny. I've always been in lawn care. Since 10 years old, I was literally that Americana, little success story of like the little teenage boy, right? Just out there with a push mower. I grew up in a double wide trailer park, and we had a double wide trailer, which I always say like means we were rich compared to the single wide trailer folks, and so long story short, we didn't have a lot of means, just to be honest. And so we had to make some money, have a little hustle, right? So at 10 years old, just like every other kid in America, well, less and less today, right? But I took the little push mower. I started going across the street, doing the whole deal, push mowing people's lawns for like $10, I think 15 for a corner lot, right? Like that was big time. And that was kind of it. I mean, literally we had 10 or 15 clients, and gosh, who knows what I did with the money back then. I think I just blew it on fireworks and Subway. So we did the whole deal. And then at 16, I actually worked at Little Caesars Corporation because that's what you're supposed to do, like get a real job, right? I always say, like, where would I have been if I would have stuck with my little side hustle? But from 16 to 20, I worked at Little Caesars. actually got fired from there, worked at True Green for about 12 to 18 months. So somehow I got, roped back into the green industry. Learned a lot from those guys, really cool people. True Green was a great organization. I always say it's a great selling organization that fertilizes. And so I got to work there. And then I kind of just, long story short, I was spraying lawns one day. I had this Baywatch moment, I call it, where these two young guys, they jump out of a truck and they cut a lawn and, probably make $35 in 20 minutes, right? And imagine this, I'm in a tanker truck, no air conditioning, full pants, full long sleeve. I mean, the hat, the gloves, the rubber boots. It's 80 degrees, 90 degrees in August, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just be honest, I'm miserable. I'm like, this sucks. I was on this high at Little Caesars. I'm at this low. I don't know what to do with my life. And I just said, you know what? Screw this. I'm getting back into lawn care. I saw those guys do it. I went and picked up a lawnmower 6 weeks later at my local dealer, and I was in business. And I had no idea it would turn into what it is today. To be totally honest with your audience, it's a miracle that I'm still even in business, because those first few years were just, you ever hear the saying, throw mud up against the wall and see what sticks?
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of my life the first decade with my lawn and landscape company. And then somewhere along the way, about 4 years ago, we decided to document our life and throw our life on YouTube. And I have no idea why, again. But it was funny. I had bought my wife a DSLR camera, and she was going to do the hair and makeup thing,
mm-hmm.
and be a beauty blogger. And we joke now that if she would have stuck with that, we would probably be multi-millionaires, because that's the biggest genre on YouTube right now, besides family vloggers,
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, the camera was sitting under the tree for 3 months. I was returning or trading in a zero-turn mower to buy a different unit, and there was no reviews on it. And so that was it's still my first video. It's still up, by the way. It's I'm not even in the video because I was so nervous, So
Uh-huh.
I had the camera I just literally did this 360-degree walk around of the mower. I'm like, it was a good unit, blah, blah, blah. And then that's it. One mower or one video turned into another video, one video turned into another video, maybe a sponsorship here, some mowing tall grass there. And there's a story in between there. It's a lot of hard work, but, so that's kind of the two oars in the water of my traditional business, and then kind of some of the stuff we've done from YouTube, which is crazy. It's a crazy little life. I have no idea.
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds awesome. So started out young pup and
Mm-hmm.
growing into a nice 22-year-old, you said? Yeah. So
Yep.
killing it. So what do you think what value do you think having the YouTube channel brings to your actual business? So I know you've grown it obviously to viewers across the country, across the world.
Sure.
But what do you think that gives you in your actual business?
It's so crazy how social media has interwoven into everything we do in society, right? I mean, in a really practical sense, and I don't advertise my business this way now because I'm quote unquote 12 years in. I'm not trying to get 400 new customers and do the whole deal, right? I'm really picky choosy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in a different phase, a different season of my business. But I will say this, if you're just getting started in business, I mean, social media is free, generally speaking, and it's the guerrilla warfare marketing,
Mm-hmm.
So it's free to have an Instagram. It's free to have a Facebook page. It's free to have a Google business listing. It's free to have a YouTube channel and, do all the tagging and geotagging and SEO to make, if you're cutting lawns in, Medina, Ohio, make sure everything says Medina in what you're doing, and your videos will permeate in that community and people will find you on the internet for free. So I think social media is huge in that aspect. How it relates to my life and my business is that when I threw myself on the internet, I was what I call at Brian's Lawn Maintenance 2.0. The first decade had already went by. I had a commercial walk behind mower, my brother's Dodge Durango. Then I bought an F-150 and, my equipment starts to evolve, right? Like it always does for everybody. Well, when I threw myself on YouTube, I was already 10 years in. Now, here's the deal though. I had just got engaged to Liz, my wife. We're married and stuff now. I've been married for 5 years. We were 26 and 22. We were, I hate to use this song. We were just young, dumb, and broke, we had no idea. And so I had a lot of growing up to do, to be honest. I got, I was making 40, 50 grand a year as a single guy living at home. And now I got a wife, and apparently she doesn't want to live at my mom's house. Who would have thought? So she's so let's get an apartment, right? So we get an apartment, and we get, we're married and we get an apartment. And she's like, well, this will be really cool for like 12, 18 months until we find our home. And so like I have that fear of God as a red-blooded male. I'm like, wait a minute, like you don't want to finish here? And she's like, no, like I like nice things. And apparently the apartment with 12-year-old moldy carpet wasn't her idea of her palatial estate, right? And so I'm like, this is exciting. So I had to grow up. I had to make way more money, and I'm not like making any accusations there with Liz or anything like that. It's just apparently girls like nice things, right? Like we all do. Yeah, man. So guys like us, we can live in a pup tent, right? But apparently women like yards and safe, secure place for their kids. Who would have thought? So just having some fun. And so yeah, so I at the same time, like I said, I threw my business up on the internet. And I did not approach YouTube like I was a know-it-all. I was just, hey, here's what I'm doing. And I always say social media today is like a two-way street. Like I learned so much stuff from all these people because, yeah, in the beginning we get like 3 comments, then it was 5 comments, then it was 50 comments. And, if I was like, hey guys, I'm going to be buying a new truck, what do you guys think? Well, you know how it goes. You put a comment out like that on the internet and on Instagram, you're going to get 150 comments here, 400 comments over here, right? The whole deal. And it's just one of those things where, if I was off 1 degree or 5 degrees, and you always got to like do your own thinking, right? At the end of this whole statement, but it would dial me in to what I needed to do. I'm buying the next lawnmower. Hey guys, here's what I'm thinking about doing over the next 6 to 12 months. What do you guys think is a good move? And so, dude, literally like, I kind of use the internet to my advantage, right? Like I was like, hey guys, what do you think? I get 400 data points, and then I'd filter it through my own brain cell, and then I'd make this next move. And so I always tell people, like, if you had 100,000 people weighing in every day on your business, like it would be a shame if you're not more successful. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? Like it sounds really weird, but I mean, that's where I'm in this boat. So I always say like, I'm a product of YouTube. I'm a product of the lawn care community, homeowners or contractors. Right. So I always say it's a two-way street, man. And that's why I'm forever humble, forever thankful to everybody that I've ever come in contact, because there's a good chance that I've learned even just one little nugget or one little tip from anybody. Like I'm just this Frankenstein thing that got put together the last 4 or 5 years. And my life has been a lot, very blessed because of it. And so I think social media it's huge if you embrace it. Now, we all know it's like a double-edged sword, so, one side of me says I love it. The other side says with me, it's just like so toxic because we all live on it, so I just say, if you're doing social media, just don't just binge on it forever, just try to keep it under control and in a box. Don't let it own you. Make sure you own it, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, that's very good. Yeah, that's good information. So you mentioned the lawn community, and I love the lawn community. Most people are very positive. You've got the haters, and I'm sure you have plenty of yours. But it seems like every day the lawn community is growing, whether new viewers are coming, new subscribers, but also I feel like there's new YouTube channels every day. I feel like I discover a new YouTube channel every day, especially on the DIY side, because that's kind of more where I stay. I do watch you. I watch like B&B Lawn Care, It's His Turf. I watch all those guys. But on the DIY side, it seems like there's new YouTube channels coming up every single day. And so I kind of want to get into a little bit how you feel like the DIY side and people putting out information of how to take care of your own yard, encouraging people to kind of take their lawn back and take care of it themselves. How do you feel like that affects you or business owners in general? Do you think that has a negative effect on you guys?
Not to me, it doesn't, just to be honest. I'm sure everybody approaches it a little different, and by the way, I watched all the same guys that you were just mentioning, like even as a contractor, because I'm always trying to get better, there's times when, I'll be honest, like I'm not watching the video, but I don't know if you ever do this, like you hit play on the video and then like put your phone in your pocket and you're just listening to the audio. Happens all the time, man. Like Ryan Knorr, Pete, Alan Hain, Connor Ward, I don't know everybody on, YouTube really does silo it up just so people know, like if you're into contractors, dude, I could tell you everything I know about YouTube. It would freak your mind out because it's like Skynet, but it knows like who's who, right? And so it won't defaultly show me homeowner YouTube channels, but there's some of the best ones I like, man, because you guys get very technical, very detailed, and I don't think you guys are a threat. In fact, I think you guys enhance everything that we're doing on our side because, to be honest with you, like as a contractor, I just don't have the time to pay that much attention to that lawn. It's just not realistic, you know, like, I don't do a lot with fertilizer or turf, management or lawn treatments or whatever everybody calls it in their neck of the woods. But so I love it when guys like get really detailed and here's what the three numbers mean and here's warm season versus cool season. Like I love watching that stuff. Right, I had Ryan Nora on my podcast 2 weeks ago. People are like, well, it's a contractor YouTube channel and contractor podcast. I'm like, if you don't think you can't learn from Ryan Nora, you're an idiot. Like like that guy is super smart. Super nerd, but super smart, shout out to Ryan Nor. He's an awesome dude in Iowa. But you know what I'm saying? And so I love watching those channels and you guys have some of the best stripes, the most healthy lawns. I can't scale that as a contractor, of course, but, I still super appreciate that work. So I think I'm not at war with anybody over there. I love those people, man. I hope if I'm ever like wandering around and they're in the neck of the woods, they invite me over because I look up to them. And by the way, they have like great YouTube channels, great audiences, tons of engagement. All the people that watch their channel that are homeowners. Maybe to answer your question full circle, it's a huge need in the world. I mean, there's I think like 80 to 100,000 registered like contractor lawn and landscape and arborist businesses. Don't quote me on that. That was the last thing I heard like 2 years ago, right? But here's the deal: there's 50 million homeowners.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm doing YouTube totally wrong, by the way. So I'm going for the 100,000. We're at 80,000 subscribers. I have no idea where you top out at, right? But you look at the homeowners, there's 50 million people. So you see like Ryan Nor and Pete and Alan Hain. I'm like, hey, your guys' YouTube channels should be 10 times the size. You're not working hard enough. And no, I'm just kidding. But there's so many more people that are homeowners that. Imagine this. Imagine you're 30 and your wife is 28. You just moved into your first nice little subdivision home where you bought an acre, and you came out of apartment life because you were a college kid. You and your wife had a little dumpy apartment like my wife and I did, or a townhome, and then you get your first nice little 1,800 square foot 3-2, right? Or whatever. You're living the American dream. Good for you. Well, you walk in, you move all this stuff in, and then you're like, hey, we're home, awesome, and then. You move in February, then March, April comes around, and then you look outside, and you're like, oh my God, the last homeowner like totally didn't take care of the lawn. Well, where do you start? Like, if you don't have that knowledge and that info, like where do you start? And so what do? You Google how to fix an ugly lawn, right? Like you learn how to fix my lawn, how to overseed my lawn, and 10% chance you're going to come up with my channel. 90% chance you're going to come up with Tim Linden and the Grass Daddy and all these guys, right? And so they fulfill a huge role. I mean, even this podcast fulfills a huge role. I don't know if you're going to get super technical answers from me, right? But you get Alan Hain on your podcast. I mean, he's got like a 20-year stint at True Green, which is how we connected. He's my True Green brother. But that guy knows everything about cool season and warm season and rhizomes and all the. And I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? But he's, you guys nerd out about this stuff. So anyway, I'm talking too long, but I know you guys are, you guys fill a huge role because I can't answer the 50 million people. Like I'm not there yet. And plus, spoiler alert, elephant in the room. My wife and I, we've lived in apartments and now we have this like townhome thing. Because we've been growing companies, I can't have all these distractions. It's just, people who understand success understand that. And you can only do so many things, right? But as we go through the next season of our life where Liz and I want to have kids and then have a home, dude, I was just telling my wife, like, honestly, it's so funny that we're doing this podcast about this topic because about a week ago, I told my wife, I'm like, yeah, I can't wait to like have Alan Hain on my podcast. And she's like, why? I'm like, so I know what to do with our lawn when we get our first home. Cause dude, like, I don't have it all figured out. Like you get two options. You get a friend of mine, like Mike Bedell. Well, three options. You get a True Green or a Scott's or one of those people. And they do a good job. They fulfill a role, right? Or number three, you nerd out like you guys. And I think that's super cool. And I don't know if I want necessarily True Green to come by. I'd like to have my friend Mike come by. He's my subcontractor for FERT. But I want to know what he's spraying and I want to learn and I want to, be one of the guys and I want to learn. I don't know. I guess when you get the green in your veins, it just, I don't know. It just doesn't leave you. So,
Yeah. No, yeah. Don't be careful when you go down that rabbit hole, man. You'll get sucked into
oh
the
yeah.
FERT life pretty quick. It's
Next thing you
funny
know, you
you
have, oh,
it's
go
funny
ahead.
the story that you brought up, about the people buying their first house and then, doing the research on Google, because that's literally exactly how I started. We bought our house in March,
Is that
um,
right?
had no clue what was going on. Went, found the
Mm,
lawn care nut, and he did this church project lawn back in Crown Point, Indiana, where he took
yep.
a lawn
Yep.
from crap to just awesome. And I watched each of those videos probably 10 times, and exactly what he did, I did, and it worked. And
He's doing another series on like a throwback on it right now.
yeah,
And I just saw the video on YouTube. It was like 28 minutes, and I'm like, dude, I literally left a comment. I'm 14 minutes into your video. I own a townhome or I rent a townhome. I don't even have a lawn, but why am I watching this video? Um, because I know like in the next 12, 18 months, if not sooner, we're going to own a home and do the whole deal. And I'm like, dude, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm a contractor. I've got a sub for that.
uh-huh. Yeah, that's funny.
Small
Yeah,
world, man.
it'll definitely suck you in, and you'll be on YouTube for hours watching that kind of stuff.
Then you're buying the hat, then you're buying the shirt, then you're buying the merch,
Uh-huh.
and then you drink the Kool-Aid and you go, I should start a YouTube channel.
Yep.
Which I'm always like, red flag, think that one through. But
I,
anyway,
I
but
feel like that's exactly how it works.
you're all a product of it, man. It's just funny how it rinses and repeats. So
That's funny. So, I met you at GIE back in October, which, if anybody listening has not been to the GIE and you're within a good driving distance, I highly recommend going. Brian's 10 will
mhm.
save you money on your ticket. Brian's 10, I feel like, will save you pretty much money on anything in life. But uh,
Yeah, if you want to buy a Ford truck, we got you. You know what I mean? Like, one day.
so that was my first year going.
Mhm,
Incredible show. I had so much fun, but I was with the DIYers the most of the time. And we
mhm.
kind of felt isolated there because the show is more geared towards professionals, businesses.
Sure.
And so, what do you think about having that show expand and having like a DIY side of it?
I think that's awesome. I think if you presented that to the GIE and the OPEI and Expo, a lot of like little organizations that all kind of get wrapped together. But dude, those guys will entertain anything if they can bring in foot traffic and help folks' businesses. I mean, like contractors, homeowners, and then all the above. Sure, I don't know if it would turn into a homeowner show, but there's I'll be honest with you, at the show itself, there's a lot of product that gets shown that is prosumer and residential. Like battery lineups, for example, right? You look at Ego and all these guys and Steel and Husqvarna and you do the name drop. You don't want to leave anybody out, but there's a lot of stuff that's catered to homeowners. I mean, Ed Wright made a $5,000 stand-on mower that is like it's like prosumer, but it's kind of like the nod to like if you're a homeowner and you like Wright, like hey, why don't you buy this thing? It's $5,000, and that's right in that price point. Exmark has like the Exmark Radius, which is like prosumer. It's basically for like the guy with a couple bucks with like 3 acres that wants to buy a $7,000 mower. So there's a lot of products that are catered to that. So if you're just a homeowner, like you were just saying, come to the GIE. It is not just for the contractors. I mean, it is. There's so much stuff. There's so many product lines. There's so many fertilizer companies, hardscaping companies, and then equipment companies. There's literally for real something for everybody. And yeah, I love the homeowner guys. I know you guys had a couple meetups, a couple like dinners and stuff together. I saw the photos on Instagram, which is really cool. Hey, if you guys are doing that again next year, give me a shout. I love to come hang with you guys. I mean, it was. I do feel like you guys were like reclused because there was like 50 of you and like 10,000 of everybody else. So I totally would agree to those optics. But you know what? If you told the OPEI or any of those guys running the show, like they would absolutely. Here's the thing: that show, I had Chris Kaiser on my podcast. He's like the head of the OPEI, and he's like, dude, whatever we got to do to get more people there that can also serve those people. Right? He's like, we will have that conversation. And where do you hear that? Like, where do you hear that from? Like the president of an organization like that? Usually it's pretty top down, and he's a bottom up kind of guy, which is just really it just speaks volumes for like a show like that. And so, yeah, I think I think it'd be a really cool idea. Hell, like I said, I'm going to be a business owner or a homeowner. So I got to go over there anyway.
Hmm.
So if I can do both at the same time, then I'm your guy. So
Right. Yeah, I feel like, I mean, like you said, that some of these companies have, residential stuff there, but I feel like it's not marketed that way.
yeah,
And I feel like the DIY side of things has such great potential, and that some
right.
bigger companies don't really see that.
Is
Um,
there a show like that in America right now?
Not that I'm aware of.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're kidding me.
There might
Like,
be. Maybe I need to do some more research on that. But as far as I know,
yeah.
there's not.
So I guess like your only alternative is like your local like outdoor Rama or outdoor home show,
Right.
right? Like where you live in your town at your local convention center or whatever,
Hmm.
right? Like we have a huge place by us and they have the outdoor Rama and my wife is like or like the home show and she's like, why do you want to go to that? Like we live in an apartment. I go, because we're gonna have a home. Like, hello. And she's like, oh, and then like you go there and it's a whole different world, man. Like it's all catered to the homeowner, right? Wow, I didn't know there wasn't a national show. I wonder if people would travel to that. Like I think it'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. I mean, if it was big enough, I would definitely make it, depending on how far the drive was.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you do like a host city like Vegas or Orlando or Atlanta or Louisville, I mean, dude, flights fly in and out of there all every minute of the day for
Hmm.
$99. So it would be super accessible to be honest. So
Yeah,
that's an interesting thought. Well, if there isn't one, you know what they say: if you build it, they will come. So
that's true. Yeah, maybe something we look into.
there you go. Sponsored
So,
by Toro.
oh, so what do you see the future of your company or your YouTube or your social media? What do you see that turning into? Just kind of staying where it is and just kind of
Yeah.
pushing growth there, or do you see yourself branching out even more? Like obviously, you said you're doing your own podcast.
Mhm.
Anything else that you have plans for?
Great question. It's normally I'm one of those guys. Everybody thinks like I always have a quick answer, and I'm like just ready. I got my talking points right. Put me in, coach. Um, that question, be totally honest with you, I don't have an answer because here's why. Our YouTube channel's growing. It's starting to make a couple bucks. I always joke we are not wealthy. We do not make millions of dollars with our YouTube channel or anything. If I did, I would be totally honest with you and let you guys know. Now, so everybody thinks like we like make like Logan Paul and Joe Rogan money, and because you're a YouTuber, and I'm like, yeah, that's not exactly how it works. Like we make a
Yeah.
couple bucks, but everything I make, I just literally reinvest. Like I bought this whole podcasting studio, right? It's like $6,000 to do this whole thing.
Hmm.
So anything we've made, we haven't really extracted. I have two things. One, I just reinvest, and two, I put it in another bank account. I'm very public with anything that I do make that's a surplus and like an overflow. Now remember, I'm helping hundreds of thousands and millions of people per month, right? Like, so I always say like, keep this in context. But anything that I do make off of everything that we're doing, I'm throwing it into what I call my Tesla fund. So I want to buy a Tesla Model X, I've just always been a techie and a nerd. And I wanted to have one for like 8 years, right? Like
Hmm.
every other guy. Like, and if you're a Tesla guy, great. If you're not, everybody thinks I have like stock in Tesla and I'm trying to like raise the stock price. I'm like, no, like I don't have any extra money like that. So I've always said like any money that we do make, I want to buy a Tesla one day. And I think that will happen possibly this fall. We'll see where it goes. It'll make a dent at that purchase. So I say all that just to say is that it's not like we're making $500,000 a year with our YouTube channel and I'm making 200 grand with my lawn business. And the decision is like that obvious,
Uh-huh.
right? Like we're not there yet. And to be totally honest with you, I still run my contractor business, 40, 50, 70 hours a week in the spring, like every other guy. I think where people get the disconnect is like, how do you have all this time for YouTube or all this other mess? Well, I shoot video 2 or 3 times a week. I bring my camera with me while we're cutting grass and we bookend stuff. At 8 a.m, I shoot a quick video with me and my guys, or at 5 o'clock, we're done with the day and I shoot a quick video with me and my guy. And then at nights and weekends, I come home and edit all this stuff. So I always tell folks, I'm like, well, where do you find the time? And I'm like, well, imagine if you didn't watch sports and you didn't watch TV, how much time that would put back into your life.
Hmm.
And it sounds kind of like pretentious and it also sounds kind of rude, but it's like, just imagine that. Like I haven't watched TV for a decade, bro. Like I haven't watched, I didn't even know who was in the Super Bowl until I go to my mom's. I'm sitting down on the couch. I got the big bowl of popcorn, right? And I'm like, all right, because we were doing some stuff in my lawn business and some paper mailing, And I sit down and I go, all right, who's playing in the Super Bowl? And my mom's like, it's the Chiefs and the 49ers. I'm like, awesome. Like, I heard they were great. So didn't somebody just get a hat trick the other day? And like that's how so far removed I am from that stuff. And to be totally honest with you guys, like, this sounds, God bless and rest his soul, but like the Kobe Bryant thing happened about 2 weeks ago,
Mm-hmm.
at the time of this recording. And just to be totally honest with you, it took a level of that, an event of that level to really pierce through anything I got going on, like where it made it into a feed of mine, because I don't subscribe to anything. I don't let anything in. I'm just so ultra focused behind the scenes. And God bless his family. I mean, just obviously a traumatic and awful situation, but it took something that grandiose to like get into my world, because I'm just so trying to keep these walls up to grow two companies, right? I mean, it's just because I've been doing this for 13 years doesn't mean you can take your hand off the plow, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, and not that everybody super cares about my whole life, but at the bottom line is that we have this lawn landscape company. It's doing sub 250. I'm very happy with it. I'm really excited about it. I got this YouTube channel that's starting to grow, starting to make a couple bucks. We've never had this much going on at once. 4 years ago, my wife and I were like 60, 70 grand in debt because I had bought all this new equipment, and, we're making payments and it was about to pay itself off. But what I didn't expect was that the exact time we paid like 60 to 70 grand worth of debt off last year, that my YouTube channel would start making some money.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So now I got two in the black, totally debt free, totally cash flow positive businesses. And so like the last couple, 6 months, 12 months, like we've just been putting money in the bank, and I'm like, holy crap, I think this is how life is supposed to be. But again, dude, like I grew up, I wasn't like 8 Mile Eminem. Okay. But like we're broke, dude. Like we had zero money. I had no nice clothes, no nice shoes, no nice nothing. And my girl, she came from a very similar background. And so I always tell people, like, you ever hear people say like YouTube and Instagram's like a highlight reel? Like, I don't want people to ever get confused like that. Like we're just normal, regular people. So I guess lengthy answer is, Liz and I want to start a family this year. And so if, God bless and, Lord willing, if everything goes right and we have some beautiful, healthy kids and the whole deal, I don't want to be the absent father, I'll tell you that. And in a contractor business, unless you're going to scale it, and 5 million and 200 people, you're an owner operator. I mean, you got to make it all work. So the idea might be to work it 2 or 3 days a week, maybe just do commercial only, supplement with the YouTube money, still keep my contractor business, still keep maybe like my top most profitable clients. The other idea is we get a couple employees, and instead of netting this, we net half of that because we got payroll. But we got this $40,000-$50,000 a year asset coming in, right? And we got two employees. So just to be honest with you, like everything's on the table. Good question. It's like a Plinko chip right now. What I do know is that I don't want to go all in with my lawn landscape company in terms of, making it a Brightview, Brylar, $2 billion company. I think I had ambitions like that when I was 18, 19, 20, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
But even just if I want to start a hardscaping, landscaping division, it's going to cost me $150,000. I don't think I'm interested in making those kind of like financial commitments at this phase of my life and the season that we want to go into. So does that make some sense a little bit?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you're a family guy. You got 2 kids. You can probably relate to what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, I've got 2 girls, and they take a lot of your time. So I mean, you kind of have to divvy it up. You kind of have to get your priorities right. Definitely doable with what you're doing, but you would have scaling back is probably something that might have to happen. But I'll tell you, man, worth it.
Totally. Like, and that's the thing, man. Like, we were joking before we hit the shiny red record button. I told my girl, like, we want to have like 1 boy, 1 girl. And if we have like 2 and 1 or 1 and 2, that's cool too. But at the end of the day, like I want to be there. I don't want to be that Mr. Successful dad that's like, chasing a Ferrari and then forgets his kid's T-ball. Like, I'm not saying that's right. I'm not saying that's wrong. In fact, probably both are right and both are wrong. Mm-hmm. You just got to make it work for you. I just know that I just want to, we're family people, dude. Like I'm just a big, I'm kind of a bump on a log. Like, to be honest with you, I'm not like overly extroverted, which might shock a lot of people listening to this. But I'm a homebody, dude. Like Liz and I, we would just much as rather sit at home on a Friday night and do nothing,
Mm-hmm.
And so, any which way, that's kind of where we're at. So if we have kids, I want to oogle over them like the next father, and just kind of hang out and just have a good environment for them. I guess is what I'm
Yeah,
trying to say. So
absolutely. So yeah, I mean, I'm kind of in a similar boat. Yeah, I'm a firefighter, so I work 24 hours. And I'm off for 48 hours. And then I have
oh
a
wow,
I
cool.
have a small lawn care business that I run on the side. I've got 20 accounts, and then I do the YouTube thing, which that's
Yeah.
not big. I'm not making money from that or anything. And then I'm trying to do this
Sure.
podcast. But that's something that I'm gone every third day at the fire station. And so
Okay.
I always wanted to coach my kids teams, but then I found myself in this mindset that I can't be there every practice or every game. And so I told my wife, said
Sure.
I'm not going to coach because I don't want to commit to it. And then
Right.
recently we're getting ready, we're doing basketball right now with my oldest one, and I'm not coaching the team. And then we're getting ready to start baseball. And I just said, you know what, I'm going to coach. If I can't be there, I'll find
Cool.
somebody to fill in. But I want to coach, so I'm in the same boat.
Cool.
I want to be there. I don't want to miss anything, and so
Right. Well, I'll be honest with you. There's no way I'm coaching my kids. Because I mean, I get sports. I love sport, dude. It's funny because like I've sacrificed a decade of my life. Instead of getting like cheap seats, yeah, I'm gonna buy a suite at the Little Caesars Arena and something at the Breslin Center in Michigan
mhm.
State. I mean, like I could go drop 8 grand, 10 grand right now, and go get suites, season tickets, the whole deal, Tiger suites. Like my goal is to, take care of my family's finances, and I'm not, trying to preach or get in anybody's face. It's just, I don't judge you, so please don't judge me, is what I always
No,
say.
yeah.
But my mom's a baseball Tigers fan, diehard nut, Detroit Tigers, right? Well, because we came so far behind the eight ball, like I didn't get to bless, my mom didn't get to bless me with these things. I didn't get to bless her with these things. And yeah, I can go get $200, tickets. We can have a great night. But if I just delay and pay my dues and kind of quote unquote do it right, I can go buy a suite and get her 120 home games or whatever it is, or 80 home games, and get her a suite and take care of my mom like first class. And so, I don't know what motivates you guys. I always say like these checkpoints in life. Maybe it's cars, maybe it's clothes, maybe it's shoes, maybe it's watches, maybe it's a nice home, right? Maybe it's putting your kids in private college or private school. Like, pick your thing. I don't think there's anything wrong with hustling. I don't think there's anything wrong with a side hustle. I don't think there's anything wrong with taking care of your family first class. We can go down a whole nother rabbit hole, but it's like that's so jaded in America today. But I don't believe in that. Like I'm a capitalist. I'm an opportunist. I think I have no problem with other people making a lot of money, dude. And I think that's awesome. That's what I want to have those experiences for my family and my kids. But at the same point with the coaching thing, like I haven't been able to follow sports for 10, 15 years, right? Like I wasn't a stud college athlete. So, just to keep it fun and light, like I hope I have a coach that yells at my kids and tells them everything they're doing right and wrong. and when the kid comes, pouting at me and goes, "Dad, the coach was mean," I'm like, well, that's because you need a coach in your life. And I'm there to love on you. I'm not there to coach you.
Uh-huh.
So I'll probably approach it with that dynamic. But I don't know, when I cross that bridge, I'll call you and you and I can have a different podcast off the air. So
Sounds
how to
good.
coach your kids, how to coach your kids while running a green business, right? A green. So I don't know. So again, I don't pretend like I know it all. So
Okay, that's good. So you kind of answered one of my questions earlier. I take it you're a Michigan State fan and not a Michigan fan.
Dude, here's the joke that I always use. Like my wife and I, we don't owe either of them money, so we don't care. Like if you owe Ohio State $100,000, you're probably an Ohio State fan.
Uh-huh.
Like it's best 4 year party of your life, right?
Yeah.
My younger brother, he owes them a boatload of money, and we always like laugh about it. And he's got the mug, he's got the tumbler, he's got the sticker, he's got the license plate, he's got the jacket. Like he's always giving them $10 every time they call because that's all he can afford. I'm just having fun. So, but yeah, dude, my girl, she's definitely more of a U of M fan because she grew up doing competitive, like for real, like high end figure skating. Like she
Okay.
was really really good. And so she practiced on the same ice as the University of Michigan's hockey team. So she grew up in Dearborn, Michigan. So she's a big U of M fan by osmosis, I guess. And same thing with me. My younger brother went to Michigan State. I don't think he was ever involved in burning any couches, but I can neither confirm or deny. But anyway, he's a Michigan State guy, so that's just kind of where I grew up. But we get along with everybody. I will say this, just to be totally honest with you, we're not cult status like Ohio. Those guys are crazy. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's a religion down there,
Yeah.
So like, if you're a Michigan fan or Michigan State fan up here, cool. But if you're like from Michigan, it doesn't matter who, and then you go to Ohio, like they're crazy, man. Those people, they need to pick up a hobby. So no, I'm just kidding.
Maybe they need to get into lawn care.
Yeah, they need to go fertilize their lawn and get lost in the weeds with all of us, right? I'm just kidding. Shout out to my Ohio people, So
Yeah, all your Ohio fans are going to be livid.
right. All three of them. So they don't have the internet there yet. So they got their tractors and they're farming, man. You ever go through Columbus? It's all farmland. So I'm just kidding.
Should we take calls now? Should we see if we can get some Ohio people to call into the show?
Yeah, if they have a cell phone, I don't know if Cricket gets service down there. So if I'm just being a dead horse. I got jokes for days. So
I will tell
think
you
I'm funny.
On the end of the dad jokes, you're definitely ready to become a dad.
See what I'm saying, dude? Like, put me in. I'm ready.
Oh.
I told you a couple of ones off the radar that you can use later. You remember?
Okay.
So
yeah. That's funny. Yeah, I'm gonna have to take some of these and run with them when we get off of here. My wife will just roll her eyes at me.
Yeah, it's your funeral, bro. Don't do it. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all I've got. So unless you have anything else you want to say to the people, I just want to tell everybody to go ahead and find you if they don't already follow you on social media.
Yeah.
Can you give the people just what all your tags are, I guess?
Sure. Yeah. You guys can find us if you type in lawn care on YouTube. We'll probably come up in the top 20. But if not, YouTube, Brian's Lawn Maintenance, Instagram, Brian's Lawn Maintenance, and then our podcast. It'll come out in about 2 weeks. So you guys get in the secret really quick. But it's going to be called Fullerton Unfiltered. It will be more contractor related and green industry related, but it's a lot of life lessons too. Like Liz and I are opening up about our marriage more, about being entrepreneurs, running 2 businesses behind us. Well, we have like 3 businesses. It's a whole other story. But we'll be talking about all that on the podcast. It'll be a really good time. Here's the thing, dude. Like, I just want to let people know, like, I'm super thankful for everything that has been opened up for doors for me. I just appreciate people that listen, that even care to, hear who I am and what I'm doing. Like, I don't pretend like I'm entitled to anything or I'm owed anything. In fact, if you guys meet me at GIE and you know this, I'm actually a pretty like quiet, normal dude. Like, in fact, I'm not really outgoing or really outspoken. So if you do see me at a trade show, whether it's a small regional one or, the GIE, like, please come up and say, hey, like, I love to know you. I love to know your story. I learn from everybody. And I don't know, I guess I'm just kind of caught up in the momentum of having fun with it all, to be honest with you. If you guys are running a green, industry business, lawn, landscape, fur, all the above, like, you can learn a ton from our channel for sure. I wouldn't say we have it all figured out, but I always say I've covered like the 10 years of don'ts that I was failing at, so I can recognize mistakes pretty quick. But all things being said, we got a lot of fun content, a lot of mower reviews and trimmer and blower reviews. So even if you're a homeowner and you want to know what the pros use, you guys are always peeking out the window, like looking at our rigs, like, oh, is that Steel BR 700? I get it. I get it. You guys are like, hey, what's the best zero turn for my lawn? And you're like, I want an Exmark because they use Exmark. Hey, cool. Come on over. Like, we all play nice together. And by the way, like I said, I love watching your guys' channel. So if you ever need anything, say hey on email, say hey on Instagram. I get back with everybody. It takes a lot of time, but I always do. We did this podcast that, by the way, sorry for the baggy eyes. It's bright and early in the morning and I went to bed late. But again, I wanted to make this podcast happen. And so I just want to say thank you to all of you guys that have ever like supported, subscribed, and said a kind word. Like, it means a lot both ways. Don't let the numbers that YouTube does, like, sticker shock everybody. Like, to me, we're just regular normal people. So, and I really appreciate the opportunity of being on the podcast, man. This is a lot of fun. So thank you so much for even thinking of me.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. I've had fun hanging out with you. And I want to say to people, you mentioned, at trade shows, go up to him, talk to him. At GIE, I remember seeing you, and you had a line of people. Not to brag on you, but you had a line of people waiting to see you, and you stopped and you talked to each person, and it wasn't just like hey, let's get a picture real quick and I'll get to the next person. Right. You actually stopped, had a conversation with each person, and I think that's really, really cool.
Well, I appreciate that. And for real, like there is times where it's like, you go to certain environments, there's going to be 100, 200 people. And it's weird, but it's fun. It's it's cool, but like it's still like weird, you know. But dude, like here's the thing, like if you're waiting in line to talk, I want to wait to talk to you too. Like if like I want to get to know you guys. Like dude, here's what I would say, and this sounds so like a one liner, but like dude, we are all in this together. Like so if there's anything I can do to like help people make more money or save more time and have just less hassles in their life and their business, or even like you that's probably exactly the same reason you're doing this podcast. Like, hey, here's what I learned, and I had to bring my lawn back, and we had to do a renovation and all this other fun stuff. Well, again, we're just being nerds, by the way. Like, it is still lawn care, you know. But at the end of the day, like, it is a pretty cool community. So if and whether you want to participate by just hitting like or leaving a 5-star review or thumbs upping something, dude, we super appreciate that. But if you want to join in and you want to leave a comment, you want to DM somebody, you want to reach out, I think you'll be really shocked at how real, how authentic, and how available a lot of people, both on the contractor and the homeowner side. Again, I talk to the same guys that you guys do, and everybody seems really, really cool. So, yeah, I appreciate the time, man. This has been a really, really good time. And again, I'm going to keep in touch with you either which way, because as we go through this kid season in the next, hopefully 12, 18 months, I'm going to be blitzed off your phone. Be like, hey, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do?
Sounds good. I'll be there.
I love it. All right. I appreciate it, guys.
Yeah. Thanks for hanging out. Brian's 10 for everything in life. Remember that. And thank you, Brian.
I appreciate it. We'll see you guys.
All right. Thank you guys so much for listening to another episode of the Lawn Talk podcast, brought to you by The Lawn Whisperer. If you have any questions or have any topics that you want to see covered on the show, or you just want to leave me a comment telling me I am doing a fantastic job or I am super, super handsome, my email is lawntalkpod@gmail.com. Once again, that is lawntalkpod@gmail.com, or you can head over to my Instagram, lawn.whisperer, slide in those DMs, and let me know there. Once again, thank you guys so much. That is it for this episode. Mic drop. Boom. I'm out. We're done. Peace.